All right, so let's dive into this company, Axon Enterprise. They've been making some serious waves in the stock market. And, you sent over this article from the Motley Fool, and they're calling it a monster stock. And for good reason. It seems like their stock just keeps climbing, even when the rest of the market, takes a dip.
Yeah.
What's the secret sauce here? 9 years of gains in a row. That's pretty remarkable.
It really is. And I think what's really interesting about it is that it's not just about, riding a general market trend. It's about their unique position in a very specific market.
Right.
Law enforcement technology.
So more than just tasers. I know they're known for those, but this article hints at something much bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Think about all the challenges that, a police department faces. They need equipment like tasers and body cameras.
Right.
But they also need systems to manage all the data that all these devices collect. Evidence, storage, records management, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Axon saw that need and built an entire ecosystem of products and software to address that.
Wow.
They become like a one-stop shop for law enforcement agencies, and that's incredibly valuable for those customers.
So instead of a police department juggling 5 different vendors for all those different systems, Axon just simplifies everything.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. No wonder the Motley Fool calls their customer base sticky. Once a department's plugged into this Axon ecosystem, it would be such a hassle to switch.
Absolutely. And that stickiness translates to reliable revenue and long-term growth potential for Axon.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not just resting on their laurels either. They're constantly innovating.
Right.
And one of their latest moves is something straight out of science fiction. They're using AI to write police reports.
Wait, hold on. AI that writes reports. This draft one thing that the article mentions?
Yeah.
Tell me more, because that sounds both incredibly cool and a little unsettling.
Right.
How does that even work?
It's pretty amazing, actually. Draft one uses AI to analyze the footage from an officer's body camera, and it automatically generates a police report.
Oh, wow.
So it takes care of all the details, the time of the incident, the people involved, the actions taken, and it compiles it all into a coherent narrative.
So instead of spending hours on paperwork after a shift, an officer could have a draft report ready to go almost instantly.
Pretty much, yeah.
That could free up a lot of time.
Absolutely. Axon estimates that Draft 1 can save officers 67% of the time they normally spend on incident reports.
67%? That's a huge chunk of time.
It is.
Makes you wonder, what could an officer do with all those extra hours?
Well, theoretically, they could focus on more proactive tasks, community engagement, things that can't be automated,
right?
Potentially make them more efficient and effective overall. But it's still early days. We'll have to see how this technology plays out in practice.
Good point. It's exciting, but it also raises a lot of questions. Let's shift gears for a minute and talk about Axon's financials. The article mentioned some impressive growth, but with a stock price this high, I'm always a little skeptical.
Yeah.
What did the numbers actually look like?
So their latest quarterly report is quite strong. They saw a 32% jump in revenue compared to the same period last year.
Wow.
And when you break it down by their different product segments, cloud services, sensors, and body cameras and tasers, each area is showing healthy growth. So it's not just one product driving everything.
Okay. That's good to hear. It sounds like they're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
But, whenever I see this kind of growth, I can't help but look at the stock's valuation and think, is it sustainable?
It's a valid question. Axon's price-to-sales ratio is currently at 24, which is considered high.
Oh, okay.
To put it simply, that means investors are willing to pay $24 for every $1 of revenue Axon generates.
So they're betting on a lot of future growth, but what if that growth doesn't materialize as quickly as they expect?
That's the risk, of course. There's always the possibility of a price correction if the market perceives Axon's growth as slowing down. However, if we look at the bigger picture, there are several factors suggesting that Axon could still be a good long-term bet.
Okay.
They're the dominant player in a growing niche market. They have a strong track record of innovation.
Right.
And their financial performance has been consistently strong. Not to mention, they're projecting strong revenue growth for the rest of the year as well.
So they're optimistic about their prospects. What kind of revenue numbers are they projecting?
They're projecting revenue to hit a whopping $2.07 billion for the year.
$2.07 million. Okay, so they're not slowing down anytime soon. But even with their track record, that's a bold projection. What are they basing that on? Is it all about Draft One and these AI innovations?
Draft one is definitely a major part of their strategy, but it's not the whole story. Remember, Axon is already the leading provider of body cameras to law enforcement agencies. And as more departments adopt this technology, that segment of their business is expected to continue growing. Plus, they're constantly developing new software and services to complement their hardware. They're creating a more integrated and data-driven approach to law enforcement.
So it's not just about the individual products, it's about the way those products all work together, this whole ecosystem they've built.
Exactly. It's like building a house. You need the foundation, the walls, the roof, but you also need the plumbing, the electrical wiring, all the things that make it functional.
Right.
Axon is providing all those pieces for law enforcement.
That's a great analogy. So big picture, what does this all mean for Axon's future? Where do they go from here?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. If you think about it, Axon is not just selling technology. They're shaping the future of law enforcement. Their AI innovations could have a profound impact on the way police work is done, from the way evidence is collected and analyzed to the way officers interact with the public.
Okay, now we're getting into some serious sci-fi territory. We're talking about a world where AI is helping to solve crimes, maybe even prevent them.
It's not as far-fetched as it sounds.
Yeah.
Imagine a system that can analyze body camera footage in real time and alert officers to potential threats, or even help them de-escalate tense situations before they turn violent. That's the kind of technology Axon is working towards.
That's pretty mind-blowing. But, whenever we talk about AI and law enforcement, there's always that question, well, is it going too far? Can we really trust algorithms to make decisions that could have life or death consequences?
It's a valid concern and one that Axon is very aware of. They're committed to developing AI that is transparent, accountable, and aligned with human values.
Okay.
But it's a conversation we need to be having as a society. As this technology advances, we need to think carefully about the ethical implications and make sure we're using it responsibly.
It's a lot to unpack. So for our listener who's been following along with all this, what's the takeaway here? It seems like Axon is really pushing the boundaries with all this law enforcement technology, from tasers to body cameras to, AI-powered reports. They're creating a whole new ecosystem for public safety.
And I think that's the key takeaway here. Axon isn't just a company. They're really a force for change. Their innovations are raising big questions about the future of law enforcement.
Yeah.
And it's a future that we all have a stake in.
It definitely gives you a lot to think about.
It does.
On one hand, you have this potential for increased efficiency, better data analysis, maybe even a reduction in crime.
Right.
But on the other hand, you have to consider, the implications of AI making these really important decisions in high-stakes situations.
Exactly. And I think that's where the conversation needs to go beyond just the technology itself. We need to be talking about the ethical considerations, the potential biases, the safeguards that need to be in place.
So it's not just about if Axon can reach those ambitious revenue goals, it's about how their technology will actually shape our world, for better or worse.
It's a complex landscape, but I think that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah.
As Axon continues to innovate, they're forcing us to confront some really fundamental questions about the role of technology in society.
And for our listener who's been taking this deep dive with us, I think that's the ultimate takeaway here. This isn't just about, investing in a company. This is about understanding the forces that are shaping our future.
It's about staying informed, engaging in these really important conversations, and making sure that as technology advances, it's being used in a way that benefits everyone.
So if you're interested in the intersection of, technology and law enforcement and the future of society, Axon is definitely a company to keep your eye on.
And as always, keep asking those tough questions, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.
That's it for this deep dive. Until next time.